I just spent 6 hours investigating the personality type of Ryan Reynolds, and what I ended up finding really surprised me. Actually ended up teaching me a lot about myself and some ways I can connect better with other people.
Do you know if it's boy or girl?
We never find out. We always wait till they come down the chute. But you know, I actually...
So one of the first personality patterns that's very obvious with Ryan Reynolds is he is a pretty spontaneous, flexible sort of guy, especially with his ideas, the different connections and possibilities that he likes throwing out there and playing with in the moment.
A baby diaper that smells like 7 cars crashed together all at once and is also the third act of Wolf of Wall Street. I know it doesn't look like it, but I'm actually sleeping right now.
You're sleeping?
Blinking is just like little tiny naps to me at this point.
Ryan definitely seems like a P perceiving preference personality type that likes sort of getting rid of structure so he can explore more options.
I don't have like a specific kind of strategy, as you can probably tell.
Did you have a plan for any of that, or were you just...
No. Did you guys have plans?
I also saw lots of clear extroverted and extroverted intuitive preferences showing up with Ryan Reynolds. Ryan's someone that's very energized by interacting with his outside world, bouncing ideas around, thinking about things outside, talking things out, collaborating together with other people. I also noticed Ryan's an idea guy. He's someone that likes jumping into abstraction, trying lots of new things to mentally explore the potential, the possibility of things.
You start to look at it like that and think, like, how is it possible that, you know, you're already half a year old when most people are given...
Forces your imagination to expand. It forces you to tell stories in different ways.
I get excited about stuff that's kind of inventive. I love ingenuity. I love anything that sort of I think is interesting. I'm not like a guy that sits around looking at the stock market and that kind of thing. I don't know anything about that.
Something specific that stood out to me was hearing Ryan's perspectives on ideating and creating together with other people.
Well, I love working with people. I love collaborating.
Embrace this idea that you know nothing, because you don't. As soon as you think you know exactly how it's all going to go down or what audiences are really yearning for, you can be surprised.
Do you see there that openness to what he doesn't know, this like open attitude about unexpected possibilities? As someone who's personally more introverted, I always learn a lot watching more extroverted EP personality types like Ryan. Something I've noticed about myself is I'm pretty comfortable ideating by myself, but when it comes to collaborating with other people, sharing ideas, talking things out, explaining what I'm thinking about, I've found I can sometimes struggle with that. It's not something I'm naturally jumping into. Why do I have to brainstorm with other people? That makes things too complicated and confusing. This is my idea. This is what I think makes sense. So why can't we just focus on this? As I've gotten older though, I've started learning that even though that way of filtering and narrowing down onto things is probably most comfortable to me, if I double down too much in that direction, it can totally create some blind spots. What if other people have good ideas? What if talking things out can actually help create new possibilities that are way better than anything I could have thought of by myself?
You always have to listen and always ask for help.
As opposed to walking into a room and saying, I'm the boss, this is how it's going to be. Really finding a way to truly collaborate with people. And the best leaders I know are the ones that are very, very comfortable saying, I don't know.
Extroverted intuition as a function, it's all about exploring possibilities openly, going outside to actually think about what's possible, see what's out there. And so sometimes I have to remind myself, am I actually exploring things openly and fully? What are some ways I can maybe do that more that would be good for me as an introvert?
Mean. You punch a couple hundred orphans and suddenly you're mean.
The next personality pattern that caught my attention was seeing the interesting ways Ryan uses a lot of thinking and feeling at the same time. Ryan has this individualist side that really likes being unfiltered, blurting out what he thinks is funny in this very matter-of-fact, detached way.
Love being a dad.
I love it. It's really kind of made me a better person, I think. I sort of miss being horrible.
Ryan's someone that likes doing his own thing, thinking for himself about what he thinks is funny, what he thinks makes sense to say or not say.
Probably shouldn't be saying this, but which is why it's awesome.
And I noticed this pattern with him where he loves messing with people's social expectations, poking fun at what other people care about, what other people think is important and appropriate.
You know Michael, he is the coolest person in the whole world. And it's weird. It's always weird when your hero is 1 foot away from you. I know. Like, growing up, he was like, he came from my hometown, and when you stand 1 foot away from him, you can't believe it. He's just as big an asshole as you imagine.
Yeah.
So
just horrible.
And he would like that joke, by the way. That's how great a guy he is.
That being said, even though Ryan is definitely disruptive and definitely an individualist, he also very much has this strong extroverted feeling side, this side of him that loves paying attention to how everyone else is feeling, outside people needs, the social dynamics going on around him, and that's something that he loves being very conscious of.
Go out of your way to make the woman feel comfortable, but I mean, you had to do it with Miranda, you also with
I'm not
Sandra
some
Bullock.
kind of demon, Jess. Of course I do. Yes, you really want to make sure that everyone's as comfortable as humanly possible and that everybody feels good about it. You really want to take care of everybody. And
Ryan is really good at being himself, but also being there for other people, being very aware of the people stuff going on around him. I noticed socially he was really good at adjusting how he would say things to really create that feeling of connection and appreciation.
Forged away for so many people, and then she gets to see you perform as her in the most beautiful.
you are the best thing that has ever happened to me. You've made me the father of my dreams when I thought I only had fun uncle potential. Thank you, I love you.
You know, in my own personal life, I'm someone that also uses quite a bit of introverted thinking and extroverted feeling. But with me, I have this very clear preference for one versus the other. And sometimes what this can lead to is me really coming across the wrong way or ruffling people's feathers. There have been so many times where I feel like I'm just expressing my honest thinking about things. I start asking lots of questions, questioning everything, really trying to figure things out for myself. But on the receiving end, how does that feel for other people? Usually it feels a little maybe intense or serious, maybe like I'm being really critical or nitpicky. And that's sometimes when I can start freezing up, going inside my head and feeling super self-conscious. Shoot, why are they getting upset? Why am I always saying the wrong thing? Here's the thing though, when Ryan's blurting out his personality, let's say he even says something that's a little awkward or inappropriate. Do we see him freezing up and withdrawing, going inside his head to overthink things? Does he come across as rude or abrasive? No, not even close, which is actually really interesting if you think about it.
I have one friend that always like, my daughter is quoting Chekhov, and she's 2, and I was like, your daughter is an asshole. So
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, well, let's not end on that.
Well, okay. You don't call your friend's daughter an asshole, isn't it? All right, we'll go on a different note.
You know, you do interviews and you're in my position and you like just you
somehow, even though he's saying things that are way wilder than anything I would ever say by accident, people don't feel upset. They're actually laughing. The reason Ryan's introverted thinking comes across so differently is because it's balanced out with a lot more extroversion, openness. If he says the wrong thing, he just adjusts and says some more things to clarify his intentions.
We're going to take audience questions in a moment if anyone wants to line up.
Thank God. No, I'm kidding. You've been doing great. You've been doing so great. You've been doing amazing. Thank you very much. A big hand for Dana. Please, come on. She's amazing. You've been doing amazing. Thank you.
Notice also how he doesn't fixate as much on just his personal thinking about things or personal perspective. And so he just comes across way more open-minded, playful, and agreeable. When I saw Ryan doing this, I was like, wait, so instead of overthinking things and feeling self-conscious, it seems like extroverting more actually makes things way easier. What are some ways I can interact more, think more about what's going on outside? What are other people needing in this interaction, and how can I be a part of that? If I put more of my attention on outside instead of just what's in my head, it's so interesting seeing how differently things come across.
You can do things joyfully and ways that connect people and bring people together, yet still sort of maintain a subversive nature and do things where you're kind of coming 90 degrees to expectation. And
from an MBTI personality analysis perspective, Ryan Reynolds' patterns were actually very clear and consistent. Lots of EP personality patterns, strong extroverted intuition, and not showing up in the ESFJ way or INTP way. A lot of bouncing back and forth between introverted thinking and extroverted feeling in a very unique ETP personality type way. Anyways, putting all those personality patterns together, what does that add up to? I think Ryan Reynolds' best fit personality type is that he is an ENTP personality type, but does that tell the whole story? I actually don't think so. There are a lot of ways where Ryan completely breaks the stereotypes of what you might expect from an ENTP personality type. And when I dug into some of the reasons why, it was very interesting.
For me, high school was the more invisible I was, the more kind of happy I was.
It turns out Ryan's an ENTP that struggles with social anxiety.
Yeah, I've had anxiety my whole life, really. The curtain's gonna open and I'm just gonna be a symphony of vomit.
He grew up the youngest of 4 boys, and also he talks a lot about how his dad was really difficult for him growing up.
Yeah, my dad was a very tense guy. You know, I used to sort of describe him as like a skin-covered landmine. I noticed when I was a kid, making people laugh was a great self-defense mechanism. It really helped me kind of navigate my way through my own home with my older brothers and my dad, and I could diffuse them by making them laugh.
There's so much more to each person than just their personality type. Things like your age, your values, culture, upbringing, mental health, maturity level, career choices, those things really impact how your personality patterns show up outside.
And that man races back to his real life like nothing I have ever seen.
Even though wiring-wise, I think Ryan's definitely a thinker, Ryan seems to really appreciate feely stuff. He seems to really value being more emotionally sensitive, conscientious, maybe because of what he saw growing up.
You know, it's hard because as kids, we're not taught, you know, coping mechanisms. We're not taught how to kind of communicate our feelings.
What's important to you?
Family, 100%. As anyone will know, it's almost frustratingly so for some of the people I work with, is that I gotta make sure that my time with my family is prioritized over anything else.
It seems what makes sense to Ryan is being a completely different sort of dad to his 4 girls than what he experienced when he was younger. What are some ways we can take better care of the people around us by working on ourselves and thinking about our blind spots? There's no such thing as a good or bad personality type, but what we work on, what we challenge ourselves with really changes how our personality patterns show up for other people. If any of you are interested in learning more about your personality type, my colleague and I do workshops teaching people about their personality patterns, helping people understand how different people look at things, how different people make decisions, and how we can communicate better, work better together with different types of people. If that sounds interesting to you or for your work, send us an email. We'd love to get connected. As well, lots of bonus content on the second channel and on my website. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys in the next ones. Peace, peace. Bye.